Good morning. Happy Thursday. So Chanel just posted a thing that said, motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. Absolutely correct. Remember the old phrase that we've been talking about for almost a year now: sow a thought, reap an action; sow an action, reap a habit; sow a habit, reap a character; sow a character, reap a destiny. So how do you find what you're passionate about? What happens if, all of a sudden you can't figure out what it is that you're passionate about? Sometimes I'll see somebody be like, I just can't figure out what I'm passionate about. Well, one of the things is you manage your physiology. Remember that state always comes first. It goes state, story, strategy. So we manage our state in order to think and approach the problem in the way that is appropriate. So one of the things you got to do is you got to always put yourself in a peak state. That starts with your physiology first. So stand tall, breathe deeply, do all of those things that we've talked about over the year. Use that triad: physiology, focus, language/belief. That forms a triad that decides how you feel. So first, use your physiology. Secondly, if you're still having a tough time figuring out what it is that you're passionate about, ask yourself this question: what is it that you hate? And everybody can always come up with answers for that. Write down a list of the things that you cannot stand, that you hate, that despise you, and then sit there and take a look at it. And the things that you're most passionate against, look at the opposite of that. And that'll really be what you're passionate about. So I have a lot of friends that are going through a major life change. They're retiring. A lot of my friends are retiring, which I can't imagine. Mr. Drahobel, who's on here, he's retired a while ago. So now you got to find what's the next chapter when you do something like that. What is it that I'm going to do with my life from here on out? If remember, you're either growing or you're dying. There's no in between. So when you go through a major life transition like that, it's like, okay, what's the next chapter? Well, ask yourself what you're passionate about. Put yourself in that physiology, put yourself in a peak state. And if you're not getting anywhere, then figure out, what is it that I hate? And then look at the opposite of that and then ask yourself, okay, how is it that I can work against this? Or what can I do in order to help the opposite of all of that? So if what you hate is cruelty to animals, all right? So maybe you're passionate about, rescuing animals. Howard Stern later in life has become passionate about rescuing cats. That's become one of his big things with his wife, is they rescue 1 trillion cats. Maybe you're passionate about something like that. Maybe you're passionate about the lack of education, the lack of balance of education. So if that's something you hate, all right, so then maybe your passion is you're going to start working for a foundation that works towards education of youth in inner cities, whatever. But find that passion in order to get to the next step. And if you can't find it, find what you hate and then do the opposite. But let's always remember, whenever you're deciding anything, whenever you're starting anything, whenever you're making a decision, whenever you're approaching a problem, managing your state is the first thing that's going to create what your response to that is going to be. And remember, if you manage your state, you got everything. If you don't manage your state, you don't have anything. We always start with state first. State, story, strategy. If you get yourself in the right state, you're going to come at it from the right story, and you're going to figure out the right strategy. Chanel was right. Motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. If you get in the habit of putting yourself in that peak state all the time, that's going to become where you live. That's going to become how you approach life, and it's going to make a whole different life for you, because you're going to approach problems differently. You're going to approach ideas differently. You're going to approach your spouse differently. You're going to approach your kids differently. You're going to approach everything differently. So a thought, reap an action. So an action, reap a habit. So a habit, reap a character. So a character, reap a destiny. Have a great day, everybody. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other. Thanks for watching.